Hello everybody, and welcome to the latest Epic Universe construction update. If you're unaware, Epic Universe is a brand new theme park coming to Universal Studios Florida and is currently set to open in 2025. Epic Universe is located just 2 miles south of Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure in Orlando, Florida, and this new park will include brand new lands themed to How to Train Your Dragon, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, Universal Monsters, and my personal favorite, Super Nintendo World. Now, since our last visit at the Epic Universe construction site, more scaffolding is starting to come down around many areas of the park, including the Dark Universe, where we are able to get our first full view of the entrance portal to this land, and we are starting to see some exterior theming work with color happening over in Super Nintendo World.
I think I'm excited.
So in today's update, we're going to head right over to the Dark Universe and check out the entrance portal to this land. And here is our first full view here of the entrance portal, where each land will have one of these, but this is the semicircle structure that guests will walk through to enter into each land. And we're getting a glimpse of the one here at Dark Universe. I think you can even tell from this photo just all the details going in with the tree roots, the rocks, it all looks great. Now we zoom out a little bit and take a look a little bit from the right side here. We can see at 1 is scaffolding that has been recently removed and an area to be painted. At 2, we have a theming model. At 3, there is short wall directing guests around a corner. 4 is recent framing, seems like a water feature plan perhaps. And at 5, we have what is originally what I thought would be the entrance portal to this land, which is supposed to be a broken masonry wall, but it seems like that is perhaps a secondary entrance or some sort of entrance to a specific section in this land, as the tree is the main entrance portal. And here, taking a close-up look at the front of it in this aerial view, we can see at 1 is wiring for an effect or some sort of lighting. At 2, we have a themed ring and insulator. And at 3, there is a beautiful patina painted in the metal. And 4, 5, and 6 are conduits here. And here's another close-up view of just the detail work that is happening at this entrance portal. Now, it's not all completely done, but it seems like the rock work and the tree roots and things of that nature, that is all completed, but there's still work to be done, as you can see up by windows and places like that, but all looks fantastic. And over at the Dark Manor, we're able to see a little bit more through the scaffolding here. So at 1, we have scaffolding up for the theming of this building. At 2 is a Manor entry now in scaffolding, so we can kind of see that through the scaffolding if you take a look. At 3, there's an orange coating, which could be for a base layer for like a masonry wall, brick wall, something like that. And at 4 is scaffolding that's been removed, which is revealing a doorway. Now, I love the way the theming is looking on this, and it's shaping up to be a beautiful structure that will be the main attraction in this land. And if you're unfamiliar with what this attraction is going to be, it is going to be a Kuka Arm-based attraction, much like over at Islands of Adventure with the Forbidden Journey in the Wizarding World. It will function that same way, as you can see in this video clip here of how it will entertain guests. Over at the walkway and entrance to the Gothic Manor, we can see more work is being done here. Now, it's my guess that the circle part at the top left of this area is going to be a fountain, but we will find out soon in the next few months. Now, in this zoomed out view from the far end of Dark Universe, we can see even more of the exterior theming on the Dark Manor, as well as the Curse of the Werewolf roller coaster that is nearby. Speaking of, over at the Curse of the Werewolf roller coaster, there isn't a lot we can see in the way of progress, but we are able to get a glimpse of some of the theming that will be covering the building if we look up here at the top of this fence. And we can see fabric covered roller coaster cars staged outside the loading and unloading area, which indicates we could start seeing ride testing happening very soon. Now, that's about all we can see in the way of progress over in the Dark Universe, so let's head over to what is mine and probably the majority of everyone's most anticipated land, Super Nintendo World. Looking into the Mushroom Kingdom, we can see through the scaffolding at the sculpting and painting on Mount Beanpole. Now, this is the first bit of color emerging from Super Nintendo World other than Yoshi's Adventure, so this is starting to give us a glimpse of the vivid color that will be all over this land. And to get an idea of what Mount Beanpole will look like once completed, we can take a look at what Universal Hollywood's Mount Beanpole looks like right here. And right next to Mount Beanpole, if we look at the top of Bowser's Castle, we can actually see the castle sculpting work has begun up top here. And taking a look at the theming over at Yoshi's Adventure, we can see at the Arrow fabric covered ride vehicles. So my guess is this ride has either gone through or is about to go through reach testing and then overall ride testing will happen as well. In this shot, we can see that Peach's Castle is starting its exterior theming, and the arrows you see here represent the crowd flow that will be in this land. Now, guests will enter the land by heading up an escalator and emerging from Peach's Castle, and then guests will exit the land at the lower level to the left here. And another angle of Peach's Castle, we can see the stairs have been completed, but if we look at the bottom, we can see the area under the castle that has been some subject to question about what this area could be. And to me, this would make a perfect place for a meet and greet area. Now, to my knowledge, it hasn't been announced what this area is going to be used for, so we will obviously have to wait and see. And if we look over here at the ground in front of the Mario Kart entrance, it looks like concrete has been poured here as well. And here in this shot, lots going on, but if we look at the arrow, we can see that this is where Toad's Cafe is going to be located. And here's a good overview of the exterior work going on all throughout Mushroom Kingdom currently. Over at the entrance portal to Super Nintendo World, we can see workers are creating concrete forms for a berm wall that will hide the land's exit, which is going to be behind this and a little bit to the right. The exit flow from the land is represented by the arrow, and the dark waterproofing at left indicates an additional berm will be there as well. Here we can get a peek beyond Mount Beanpole for a sighting of the Donkey Kong roller coaster in the background, which will take us over to the Donkey Kong roller coaster. And in this outdoor section of the ride, we can see at 1 there is staging of a frame for theming and some stairs. Over at 2 is the current state of the waterfall, and at 3 an area of the broken traditional 2-rail track. And here is actually one of the best views we've had of the sideways track on this ride and how it'll work. Like we mentioned before, this unique roller coaster will actually utilize a side track, and it will simulate jumping over gaps in the upper track just like you did in Donkey Kong Country, the video game where this ride gets its inspiration from. Now, this is a great view of the waterfall construction currently over here at Donkey Kong Coaster, and at the arrow is where a large character face will be right above the precipice. Now, here we can see a reach test car again, as we saw a few of these in our last visit in this land. Now, a reach test is done to make sure guests on the ride can't touch theming to both protect guests and prevent damage to the theming and to the ride. Now, there has been some solid progress on the exterior theming elements on the Donkey Kong coaster, and the waterfall area is starting to look a lot like we expected it to from the concept art of this attraction. All right, from magical plumbers to wizards, let's head over to the Wizarding World to see the progress over there. In this wide shot of the Wizarding World entrance portal, we can see at 1 and 2 recently added walkways. At 3, we have masonry added to the facade. At 4, we have recently added shrubs, so more landscaping is taking place over here. And 5, a look at how landscaping hides some of the back house area. Now, most of this land is still covered in scaffolding, but we are able to see some details emerging through it. At 1, we have details of a copy of, pardon me if I get this wrong,
oh jeez,
Port St. Denis.
Could be worse.
At 2, we have masonry of a facade. At 3, we have windows installed in a facade. And 4 and 5 are permanent raised maintenance platforms with yellow safety gates. Now, here we can see a distinctive roof dome that might be a navigation reference in the intersection of 5 streets in this land. At the top of this aerial photo, we can see work is underway to build turrets of, here we go again,
Oh, come on!
Sacré-Cœur Basilica. The scaffolding at the bottom is for theming facades along a tall, narrow hill with many stairs representing Montmartre in Paris. In this view, we can see a 1, work underway to theme turrets of the Basilica. 2, we have a permanent safety rails in this place, including platforms behind frame for Basilica's exterior. And at 3, we have permanent elevated service walkway, and 4 is scaffolding resting on a platform. In another rooftop view of the Wizarding World, we see tons of scaffolding on the streets of Paris. At 1, there is a recently added scaffolding in a courtyard, and 2 is believed to be some of the restrooms in this land. Now, here's a shot we have of, at 1, the restaurant that is accessible only through a courtyard. 2 is a recently added scaffolding in that courtyard. And 3 is the doorway for service equipment and vehicles. Now, here we can see the large show buildings at the top right in the land. And at 1 is a theater show, and at 2 is the featured attraction, which is believed to be a Ministry of Magic themed ride, with the main rumor out there being that it is an elevator styled type of attraction. We will talk more about what this could be in a future land preview for the Wizarding World in Epic Universe, though. All right, that's it for the Wizarding World, so let's head over to one of the busiest parts of Epic Universe construction activity lately, the Isle of Burke and the How to Train Your Dragon land. Let's go! Now here's a great shot at a pair of statues that will greet guests as they enter the land. Now these statues will be sitting in water, and it will simulate the scene from How to Train Your Dragon movies that you can see right here. Work continues over at the entrance portal to the land as we can see the continued construction of the boardwalk at the front of the bay as well. And here's a great view of the front bay in the Isle of Burke. Work has resumed at the third Viking ship, which is top right here, after not much work happening in the bay due to some flooding from some late summer storms that came through. Now this aerial view to give you an idea of sort of the layout here, we have at 1, the land's boat ride, and at 2, we have the entrance portal to the land. At 3, we have the second roller coaster launch of the How to Train Your Dragon roller coaster, and the arrow is the direction in which that ride will travel. And at 4, we have a pair of spinning rides that will be dragons in flight, and at 5, we have the Great Hall Restaurant. Now over at the second launch of the How to Train Your Dragon roller coaster, the rockwork surrounding it is making good progress, as some of the rockwork is ready for paint now. We're also starting to see how this kids' play area is starting to shape up, as that is what is coming to the area toward the bottom of the launch area with the rock work happening there. At the pair of spinning dragon rides here, we can see at 1, sand has been placed for a concrete pour, and more sand has been placed for a maintenance sidewalk concrete pour. And at 3, we have recently transplanted trees that look like they're dying, so we will have to keep an eye on those if they get replaced, or perhaps they're able to save them. At the Great Hall Restaurant, we can see rock work is continuing with the scaffolding on the roof of the entrance, seemingly getting taller as well. In this view, we can see at the arrow what is the unload and load area of the land's boat ride, and along with some general construction progress on that ride as well. Now in another angle near the boat ride attraction, we can see at 1, foundations that are in progress for the theater entrance of the land's theater attraction. At 2, we have recent excavation. At 3 is a boat channel being extended to a service building. And at 4, we have recently added retaining walls. Now here is a look at the main station of the How to Train Your Dragon roller coaster, and the arrows again are pointing in which direction this ride will travel. And over at the first launch of the coaster, we have another good look at the steel frames that are being painted to look like a wood structure to keep with the Viking village look and feel of this land. But we do have some real wood, as it looks like the roof is beginning to be built here and they are using real wood. Zooming out a little bit, we can see the steel support beams have also been painted to look like wood. Now more of these are painted now versus the last time we took a look, but we are unsure if this is the finished paint job or if there will be more detail work on these. All right, let's head over to the dueling roller coaster called Starfall Racers to see what progress is being made over there. Here we can see more work is being done at the front of the coaster where there has been a recent excavation. Now there were some that were speculating that this could be for a water feature, but considering how low the tracks run in the same area, I don't believe that will be the case, but we will have to wait and see. And another angle we can see at 1 is the attraction entrance, 2 is scaffolding for the theming of the central theming element here, and at 3 we have recently added curved frames to the excavation area. Now much of the landscaping and maintenance walkways have been completed on this ride, so this does give us a glimpse into how much of Epic Universe could potentially look with lots of greenery and trees, as Universal has stated they want to, quote, bring the park back to theme parks.
I mean, if you like parks.
Work is continuing on the central theming element on the ride with more scaffolding going up around it. Now it's unknown what this will be, but we do know it will have a celestial theme, so perhaps it could be some sort of star or comet. All right, let's check the center of the park, which will be known as Celestial Park, to see more of the progress in this area. Over at the large in-park fountain, we see the development of a building with a full circle collection of foundations at the building. At another angle of the fountain, we can see at the arrow where the kids' splash area will be, and it looks like the plumbing here is ready for hookup. Now this view provides us some scale as to the sheer size of how big this fountain really is, and you can see the entrance area for Dark Universe and the tree that sits in front of it in the foreground to give it a little bit of comparison. At the domes of what is going to be called Celestial Carousel, which is a family-friendly carousel attraction, we can see the gray curve going left to right at the bottom of the photo is a collection of fountains and a water feature. Now there seems to be a little progress inside the main dome compared to the last time we visited here. And this is a ride I am really interested in because we do have small kids, so being a family-friendly carousel attraction, I do like that. But also the concept art points to this being a beautiful area of the park, as this will be covered in stained glass and have the water feature nearby. We can see the water features near Celestial Carousel in this view, and at 1, a curved line of fountains, at 2, a semicircle of fountains, and 3 is another splash pad or play fountain for the kids. Now at the Waterside restaurant that will be featured in the center of the park, we have a good look at the water features that patrons will be entertained by during their meal, as we're able to see the pattern in which the fountains will play. Now hopping over to the entrance area of Epic Universe real quick, we can see at the center is construction of the main gateway arch area, with security and admissions area under the curved buildings at the right. Now to get an idea of what we're looking at when we view this entrance area, we can see at 1 is going to be the bus loop, 2 is the security and admissions area, 3 is the construction of the main gateway arch area, and 4 is a water feature, and 5 is a waterside restaurant with a view of a fancy water feature. Now here you can see work is underway on the main entrance to the park, as the first ring of wood concrete forms are in place for the half circle of the park's overall portal. And here we can see at 1 additional concrete form sections to continue the half circle of the portal into the park. At 2 we have supports of a concrete form seen above, and at 3 there is current work on a water feature. And off to our last stop in our Epic Universe construction update, we are checking in on the hotels that are under construction. So since our last look over here at the pair of sister hotels that will sit on the outside of the park, it seems that the color reflective tiles that will cover both hotels are being installed at a slower rate compared to a few weeks ago, and the pool areas also look about the same as well. So there's not much else to report on in this area. There is some progress over here at the in-park hotel construction though. Now in this high level view of the in-park hotel, we can see at 2 the progress on the pool and outdoor recreation area, and at 3 is the parking garage that will be for hotel guests only. And in this overview of the hotel, we can see at 1 tiers of the tower, at 2 is concrete forms to extend the lobby level, 3 we have a cascading water feature of an in-park restaurant, and 4 is a service access to the basement. So that's going to do it for this Epic Universe construction update. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel before you leave, as we will be doing more Epic Universe updates and land previews as construction progresses. And here at Capture the Magic, we also have vlogs and informational videos to help you have the best time when heading to Universal Studios and/or Disney World. And over at the Capture the Magic podcast YouTube channel, we discuss all things Universal Studios and Disney World in much greater detail. So which land are you most looking forward to visiting once completed? Let us know in the comments. So until next time, we will see you in the parks.